Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Scarlett and I am an atheist and skeptic in progress. I like to contemplate matters of life and philosophy, especially what gives us meaning and purpose. And I like to examine shallow drivel that passes for thinking in the world of apologetics. For today, I have found some bonkers stories and parables from Ray Comfort. But first, a thank you to everyone who has commented, liked, subscribed, and done all the YouTube stuff. Here are pictures of my cat Gina as a reward, and thanks to all those who sent well wishes too. I mentioned in a prior video that Gina isn't doing well. She has some high liver levels, but she's stable on some meds right now, and we'll check back with the vet again in a month to see if there's improvement. And with that, and no further ado, we're going to talk about Ray Comfort today and some bonkers stories on his Living Waters webpage. Do I really need to give an introduction to who Ray Comfort is?
Behold, the atheist's nightmare. Now,
Yeah, that never gets old. Yes, it's Banana Man, unaware of the fact that the banana was intelligently designed by humans to be the way it is. You know, it's funny how creationists seem unaware that plants also evolved. Anyway, I digress. Of course, you might be more familiar with Ray's shtick where he goes evangelizing around the streets and asking people if they've lied and if they've stolen. I actually found a cartoonist that has taken that shtick and put it into cartoon form. If you're not familiar with it, I'll link it in the description. But the basic idea is even if you think you're a good person, maybe you've told a lie, so you're a liar. Maybe you stole something, so you must be a thief. And you have to pay the price, and then that means Jesus pays the price for you, and then they say the Lord's Prayer, and that's part of his evangelizing shtick. That's our refresher in case you didn't know who Ray Comfort was or needed a refresher on which of the evangelists or apologists we're talking about today. So I was bipping around over on his website, Living Waters, and I found this page on true and false conversion and the way to tell the difference. And here's the summary. This message explains why divorce, alcohol, and drug addiction, immorality, and abortion are so prevalent within the church today. Are our churches really filled with true believers? I'm going to say no. I'm just going to go out on a limb. This is a guess here. It's not full of true believers. Now, Ray's pages are full of the same stories over and over again. It's amazing to me how the man can repeat himself, but I found a couple that were new and interesting and totally bonkers in their own way to illustrate how people are not true believers, they're false converts. So let's take a look at those today. Like in this first one that we're going to look at about a speedster, as Ray says, in our book, Hell's Best Kept Secret, we share a story about a speedster. He was drunk and he drove through his hometown at a dangerous speed of 120 miles per hour. The town had no law against speeding. What about the drunk driving part? Didn't they have a law against drunk driving? Okay, Scarlett, don't get distracted by all the details. So they passed a law saying 65 miles per hour was the maximum speed. The speedster comes through again at 120 miles per hour, and this time he was in transgression. They grabbed him and leveled a $6,000 fine against him. I like this grabbing image, like they grabbed him by his collar or something. Not like they stopped him, the police arrested him. No, they grabbed him. That's really good. With no money and no words in his defense, the youth was led off to prison. As he sat in prison with no hope, no means of payment, his father arrives at the door and says, "Son, I know you are guilty, but because I love you, I sold all my worldly goods to raise the money to pay the fine for you. You are free to go." I realize that this setup is about sin and salvation. It is about the fact that we are sinners and that Jesus pays the price by dying on the cross. But I find so much of this setup disturbing. So the first thing is the thing I've already mentioned. They're not concerned about the drunk driving at all. This is only about the speed of 120 miles per hour. Then we're only concerned about the fact that was there a law or wasn't there. We're not concerned about the danger, really. We acknowledge the danger, but there's no discussion about how this is dangerous or how he could potentially harm anybody. This is merely about a rule. So it's not important what the rule is. Like, they couldn't do anything until they made a law. Nobody could sit him down and talk to him or anything. So that's bothersome. Then the father sells all of his worldly goods and he raises $6,000. That's all? He sold everything, really? He sold his house too? Maybe Ray doesn't consider the house to be a worldly good, but if he did, I would hope he would get more than $6,000 for a house. But if that is the case, then I think this boy has more problems than just the speeding and the drunk driving. Like, there might be some issues of poverty or something. Like, at least precarious month-to-month kind of living. And there's no shame in being poor or anything. It's just that might be one of the problems that this person is facing, is all I'm saying. Anyway, I find this setup to be terrible. I find that so far the setup is this is not a very good parable, basically. It's just bonkers right from the start. But let's see where Ray goes with the next part. What then will the attitude of the youth be to the law? Well, he is dead to the law by the sacrifice of his father. His father paid his fine. Now the law holds no dominion over him. This is so funny. He is dead to the law. I don't even know what that means. Like, he can't break any more laws. This is just funny. And what's his attitude now toward his father? Why, in the light of his father's sacrifice, he is filled with humble gratitude at such a demonstration of love. Now he will bring forth the fruit of a new lifestyle that is pleasing in his father's sight. He will no longer be lawless. I wonder if Ray thinks he's channeling the spirit of Jesus by telling these parables, because I just find these fall so short in terms of storytelling. First of all, like I said, what does it mean to be dead to the law? How come the law holds no dominion over him? He has a drinking problem, maybe, so we don't address that. We don't address the speeding. We don't address what might be acting out, all of the things that happen with teenagers. How can we be sure that he will have an attitude of humble gratitude to his father? I mean, parents often do things like bail their children out, and children just take that for granted. So maybe this son just takes for granted the fact that the father is going to bail him out. How do we know he's going to have a new lifestyle and he will no longer be lawless? This is just crazy. It's clear that these are just made up figures to talk about whatever Ray wants them to do. It's not even a real anecdote. And as a reminder, this is a page that's about true conversion versus false conversion. So clearly what he wants is to show this is a conversion. The son that drives drunk and speeds and has his father bail him out now is converted to a lawfulness instead of lawlessness. Now, Ray outlines some characteristics of a true convert. We won't go through them. You can always pause this or go to the website I link. But these are some ways to tell if somebody is truly converted. There are also ways to tell if somebody is falsely converted. Again, not going to read these. You can stop the video if you're interested. We're not here for that. We're here for the crazy stories. But look at that last one. For a while, they do believe. So some people feel like they have genuine conversion experiences, and I guess God just doesn't care. And we're never going back to that speedster youth to find out what happened after that. He was just a little story to get us started off, a little taste of sin and redemption and whatever Jesus has planned for us. Moving on into some other things on this conversion page. This is not really surprising. Somebody who is soundly saved will never fall away. Well, surprise, surprise. So if you fall away, guess what? You weren't soundly saved. And how do you spot someone who is soundly saved? Glad you asked. They have regard to the divine law. No longer are they workers of iniquity. They don't lie. They don't steal. They don't kill. They don't commit adultery. They don't lust. They don't hate. They don't get angry without cause. They don't covet. It's those we erroneously call backsliders who fall away because they never slid forward in the first place. Well, I do find it convenient that if you decide you don't believe anymore, you were never really saved, you never really believed, it was all just a fake out, and like I've already said, I guess God just doesn't care. You might think you sincerely believe, but guess what? You don't. And all this stuff about if you're a real believer, you're going to act a proper way. Well, that doesn't mean you're not going to sin. It's just the difference is you don't mean to sin. And let's see what Ray says. Am I saying a genuine convert never sins? Of course not. A Christian, every Christian has a battle with the world, the flesh, and the devil. And sometimes he does fall into sin. But that's the point. He falls into the sin, while the hypocrite, the false convert, dives into sin. The Christian sins against his will, but the hypocrite, the false convert, makes provision for the flesh. If you've ever gotten up and said, "It's Monday, today I'll sin," it's Monday, today I'll sin. I love that. That is so awesome. Anyway, I guess the point is, if you are genuine, you don't mean to sin. It's an accident, and then you repent and all that. But if you're a hypocrite, you're doing it on purpose. All right, so the next part of this is the really bonkers part, the really bonkers story, and why I decided to make the video. Because where Ray decides to go with this, with false converts who backslide and who were never real converts or whatever it is, this is just insane, this story. Years ago, I was one of the pastors of a very large church, and the senior pastor was really skinny, and he used to make jokes about it. He had only one stripe on his pajamas. He used to run around in the shower to get wet, and he said, "I eat and eat and eat, and I never put on weight." I think he had his glorified body. I think he had glorified his body. Well, a lot of this, for this story, most of this doesn't really make sense. I guess this is just detail, and the run around in the shower is a funny joke. The next part of the story. He was about 6 feet something and about 120 pounds, a very slight man, and I tell you that for a reason. This pastor had a shepherd's heart. He just loved the flock. He would take up a lamb in his arms and just so love his people. He was a very godly man, filled with the fruit of God's Spirit. One night, there was knock at the door of his home at 3 a.m. A lot of this doesn't really matter. The main point we need to know is that he was caring and he cared about the people. So some of this, I tell you that for a reason, not any reason that I can tell. So there's a knock at 3 a.m. and then one of his teenage sons got up and opened the door. It was some guy wanting counsel at 3 o'clock in the morning. But knowing his father's heart, the son didn't hesitate to go to the bedroom, knock on the door, and say, "Father, someone wants counsel." He said, "I'll be out in a minute. Tell him to wait the living room." Wait the living room? Wait in the living room. Do you say that in New Zealand? Just wait the living room? Anyway, I love this scene of Ray setting up some guy wanting counsel at 3 o'clock and the son saying, "Father, someone wants counsel." Yeah, this sounds like a real dialogue, right? All right, so the father got up, got dressed, came down the hallway, and walked into the living room. And as he stepped into the room, a 14-inch machete blade came down upon the pastor and so sliced into him that when his 2 teenage sons heard him scream and rushed in, they found his blood around the walls of the living room. Like, holy shit, a 14-inch machete sliced into him, and then we've got like Friday the 13th in this pastor's living room. I have no words for this particular story. Let's see how it continues. They thought their father had been killed. They just about killed the guy who did it. The guy was a very angry man. The next day, another pastor called me and said, "Ray, did you hear what happened last night?" And I said, "Yeah, heavy." He said, "Heavy? That guy went to my church." Then he added, "Fancy that, another Christian doing that to the pastor." Like, is this, like, this guy almost died, and there was blood, and it looked like Halloween had happened on, Mike Myers had been in this guy's living room, and Ray says, "Yeah, heavy." And then Ray said, I said, "Hang on a minute. If some guy tries to cut the head off a senior pastor, you could probably come to the conclusion that he lacks somewhat in the area of love, goodness, gentleness, self-control. I just love where Ray's mind goes, and I could hear it with his New Zealand accent. I'm not doing the accent though. I could just hear Ray saying this in my head. Oh, this is just insane. So Ray concludes, we have got to stop embracing everyone who names the name of Christ and saying, you are a Christian. You've given your heart to Jesus. The Bible speaks of false brethren, false apostles, false prophets, false teachers, and true and false conversion. And that's it. That's the end of this parable. A guy is attacked by a machete. He must have been a false convert. The only conclusion you can come to. And that's it. And he doesn't show up again for the rest of the page, which goes off into all kinds of other discussion about false converts. Now, to my non-Ray Comfort way of thinking, I have so many questions about the machete story. Like, did the man have a history of mental illness? Was he taking medication? Was he off of his medication? And of course, I realize that mentally ill people don't all do these kinds of things. I'm just saying it is a factor. And the medication could be other medication. I know people who've gotten violent because they were taking certain kinds of medications that were not for mental illness, they were for a physical illness. So anyway, these are just questions that come to mind. But other circumstances that have nothing to do with medicine or mental illness or any kind of illness, like, had the pastor done something? Was there a feud? There are so many other questions, not just, was this a true or false conversion story? And it's interesting to me that Ray has no curiosity about all of this. It is very simply, this man showed up, tried to kill a pastor, therefore he's a false Christian. That's all that concerns him. And I find the whole thing bonkers. The story with the machete, the way Ray reacted to it, just, yeah, heavy. I guess he wasn't loving. The fact that this is the anecdote he's chosen to illustrate false conversion stories as opposed to something a little more innocuous, something that happens most of the time. Who remembers Ray's summary for this post? Why divorce, alcohol, and drug addiction, immorality, and abortion are so prevalent. But no, Ray chooses to illustrate false conversion with a machete attack. I even wondered if this was a fabricated anecdote, and so I started looking some things up. And what do you know? Machete attacks happen more often than you would think. Here are two from this year. Florida man wields machete. Well, that's not a surprise, right? And here's another one from California. There are others, I've just picked a couple. I also found this cool video of a plant wielding a machete. It's an art installation by David Bowen. I'll link the article in the description. Bowen attaches sensors to the plant, which gives off electrical signals that his software interprets. I hope it doesn't start saying, "Feed me, Seymour, feed me all night long." Maybe the next staging of Little Shop of Horrors can include this leafy creature. I'd watch that. Anyway, back to Ray. I guess what I see sad, a little funny, and incredibly perplexing is the way apologists like him use stories like the machete-wielding person only as a way to support their worldview. Christian X acts in a godly way. True Christian convert. Christian Y doesn't. False convert. Someone who lost their faith. False convert. Well, first off, obviously, this is all totally unfalsifiable. There is no way to actually establish the fact of any of this. Second, he has no curiosity about the human beings in these stories. Christians aspire to be loving and generous, but they don't seem interested in the circumstances of people's lives. There is also no interest in the nuance of morality and wrongdoing. And of course, there are no specifics in these stories. Who knows if they actually happened? Anyway, enough of Ray's attempts to channel the parabolizing spirit of Jesus Christ. I think he fell far short. Well, did anything of interest stand out to you? Post it in the comments below, and while you're at it, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. You're on YouTube, you know what to do. As always, I've been Scarlett, giving my life meaning and purpose by attacking this incredibly stupid dribble of Ray Comfort. See you in the next one. Bye for now.